it's Shay from Shay's Kitchen. Thank you so much for joining me for another video. So today what I wanted to share with you all are my kitchen essentials. Actually, my top 10 kitchen essentials. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tell you why they are my kitchen essentials and why I suggest you may have them as your kitchen essentials. So obviously, I'm not dumb. I know and understand that everyone's kitchen essentials will be different. But again, these are why I think they should be your kitchen essentials. You can take it with a little grain of salt, or you can adopt these essentials or compare to see if these are already staple items in your kitchen. So let's just go ahead and jump into my top 10 kitchen essentials. So the very first one that I am going to talk about is going to be these buddies here. This is a trusty cast iron skillet. I have two here. This one is likely a 5 or 6 inch. And then this one is a 10-inch cast iron skillet. And I also have a 12-inch cast iron skillet. Now, this one right here is my most prized, my most sacred cast iron skillet. This is the cast iron skillet that I was gifted when I went off to college and got my own place. And I should say, not when I went off to college, but when I got my own place. My first year of college, I was living on the dorm. I didn't need an actual cast iron skillet, but when I moved out into my apartment, this was the first thing that my mother actually sought after, and this was her gift to me. So the reason why this is a kitchen essential for me is because it is the very first skillet that I learned to cook on. If you guys have been watching for a while, you know that I am a country girl at heart. I grew up in the country, and this is what we literally had. Like, we had these, and we had a few pots, but everything was cast iron for the most part. So this is just really like comforting to me. This is easy for me. I know how to care for this. It's just like everything for me. Now, obviously I have different pots that I use on a regular basis, but if I'm gonna just be grabbing something really quick and I know it's gonna be like a 1-pot meal or something like that, 9 times out of the 10, I'm grabbing these cast iron skillets. Now, the reason I suggest you have one of these in your staple item is because it's just so reliable. So often you buy pots and pans and you end up having to replace them. This is just a really, really good investment at a very low cost. As long as you don't get it enameled or anything, these things you can pick up at about $20. Just research how to keep them stained or seasoned, I should say, and you're good to go. It's like a one-time investment that literally will last forever. I don't know if it's even possible to like tear one of these up. So, and guys, these are in no order whatsoever. I'm just picking randomly just to let you know, so I'm not putting them in order to best to least of my top 10. I'm just grabbing. So the second thing I'm going to show you is a knife, not this specific knife. I just recommend that you have a really, really good sharp knife that you can go to. At some point, I would love to invest in a really, really good high quality kitchen knife set, but they're really, really expensive and I just cannot bring myself to go ahead and spend that type of money on some knives. But for now, this Cuisinart is ceramic. It's doing the job. I essentially put this in my hand each and every time I get ready to cook. I just really can't do anything in the kitchen without a good quality knife that's going to stay sharp, so I don't have to worry about cutting myself. Now, why this particular one is my go-to right now, it's probably because of the sleeve and the ease of cleaning. Like, literally, I put this thing in the dishwasher. It has not rusted on me. And it comes with the sleeve. So I put it on the sleeve and I throw it in the drawer. I don't have to worry about like carefully handling anything in my knife drawer for fear of being cut or anything like this. As far as you having a knife or your go-to knife in your top 10 kitchen essentials is because literally, guys, I don't know what you're going to do in the kitchen if you don't have a good knife. One, you don't want a dull knife because then that's really how you can hurt yourself in the kitchen. When you get your knife, keep it clean, keep it sharp, and love and trust, love on it, basically. That's number 2. Next, I have these bad boys here. These are my measuring spoons. These particular ones are stainless steel. I've had these for a very long time. I also have several others that I use when I can't put my hands on these. And when I say that, it's because I touch these every day, either myself or my husband. In the morning, he does like an apple cider vinegar, and he will use one of the sets of the measuring spoons in the house. If I'm making pancakes, I have these. If I'm, baking, I have these. If I'm trying a new recipe and I have to have precise measurements, I have these. So literally this is a day-to-day and a weekly item that we touch. I definitely recommend that you get you a good set. Go ahead and invest in one that will last a long time. If you get yourself a good quality set, a stainless steel set, it will last you years, decades, as long as you take good care of it and you take good care of it. Now, that's my second. 1, 2, 3. This is going to be my 4th item. So again, something that I've had for a very long time. I got these at the same time that I got these cast iron skillets. They have held up very, very well. I use them all the time. I have others that I use that aren't as good quality, but these bad boys have really stood the test of time. They are stainless steel, and they just really work well. They just really work well. The only thing that you have to be mindful of, and the reason I have other options as far as spoons, is because if you're using non-stick, or if you're using a cast iron that has an enamel on it, you do want to make sure you're using something that's plastic or wooden, something that won't scratch off those surfaces. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and pick you up a good quality set of stainless steel spoons, large serving spoons. Now, next up are my liquid measuring cups. I use these every week, guys. Literally every single week. It can be as simple as getting water out of my refrigerator, my filtered water, in order to pour my coffee, in order to make smoothies or anything like that. I fill these up and I pour it in the large container for the smoothies. If I literally have to measure anything out, you just have to have a good liquid measuring cup. I happen to have 3. I use the smaller one here most often just because I'm usually just looking for a cup or less of something liquid, some type of liquid to put in it. Then I have a 2-cup measuring cup. I've had this one for a very long time, as well as this one, but for some reason, this one is worn a little bit more. You cannot see the measuring lines unless you get up close and personal with it. I know how to use it, so there's no point in me replacing it because I can see it. But if anyone was in my kitchen and not familiar with any things, they probably would have a hard time. But if that is the case, I have a 1-cup and I have a 4-cup that they can use. So between the 3 of these, somebody's going to be able to get the job done. But I love these because when you are baking, when I'm baking, which I don't bake on a weekly basis, but when I am baking, precisement is key. So I always want to make sure that I'm getting as precise as possible. Anytime I'm trying any type of new recipe, period, and anytime I'm baking. So when I do my meal plan, sometimes I have to look for new recipes if I'm getting bored with the same mundane thing. So I definitely have to use these in order to make sure that the very first time I do it exactly the way that the recipe calls it. And then I go off the drift for the following times that I make it, if it's a hit. So I definitely recommend that you have these just because you always want to be precise. You always want to know that what you're making is exactly what it's called for until you get familiar with making those calls of judgment yourself. Next up are dry measuring. Now, I know a lot of people do not understand the difference between dry and liquid, and they use them interchangeably. However, that is not the way it's supposed to be, and I use them as they are intended to be used. I only use liquid in my liquids, and I only use dry in my dry. Now, I don't know if I've ever shared with you guys, but my background is in biochemistry. That is what I hold my Bachelor of Science in. And so for me, preciseness is really key, and it's not something that when I say preciseness, when it's necessary. Now, my everyday cooking, I don't have to be precise, y'all. No, I don't measure. But when it comes to baking and when it comes to following a quote unquote protocol, which a recipe is just a protocol, it's a step-by-step procedure that's telling you how to get something done, it's really important for you to follow that, as is the very first time. So just really quickly, the reason why, because just everything I said, the reason why I advise you to have it in your arsenal of things is because when you're learning to cook, if you are learning to cook and you're learning to just kind of like better your cooking skills, it's really good to understand what it is that you're measuring. And the more often you do it, the more you will be able to recognize it by eye. Now, for me, I can almost spot on measure out a teaspoon, a half a teaspoon, and a tablespoon, as well as a half a cup and a cup, just by eyeballing it, because I've done it for so long. So I definitely recommend that you use it this way until you are familiar enough to do it off the rip and on your own. Now, really quickly, the major difference between these two is when you're measuring liquid will give you a meniscus. A meniscus is the exact point at the bottom where you actually will measure your liquid. And you can't get that with a dry measuring cup. Next up is my hand grater. Now, I will tell you, I don't reach for this every day or every week, but I still wanted to include it because I don't think it's anything that you should not have in your kitchen. Like, I think if you're starting out, this is something that you need. I don't like pre-shredded cheese. Even though I have it on hand all the time because my husband goes through cheese like he goes through underwear, seriously. He's gonna be so upset that I said that. But when I'm making something that requires shredded cheese, I'm shredding it by hand. And thank God I got a food processor that has a shredder in it, because if I have to shred something, I'm going to put my hands on that. But I literally just got that this year, guys. I shared with you guys my unboxing of that, and I will link that below. But up until now, this is all I ever had. And we call this a knuckle buster, because I guarantee each and every time that you go to grate something, you are going to bust up one of your knuckles, okay? And that's why I don't like using it. But when you shred cheese or you shred anything, as opposed to getting the pre-shredded kind of anything, it just makes whatever it is that you're cooking taste so much better. So that is why I recommend that you have one of these, because when you need it, you need it. When you don't, you don't. But you always want it in your possession in case you have to reach for it, in case you have to use it. So I'm gonna move on from that and on to these guys. This is a cutting board. I cannot do anything in my kitchen without a cutting board. These are two. I own several. I own two very large ones. I own several other plastic ones that I keep. And when one is dirty, I just reach for the other one until I can get them all clean. But this is my favorite one. And I got this with the Cuisinart knife that I've already shown. I love this because of the rubber on each side. So when I put it down, it does not move, and I don't have to do that whole wet paper towel underneath trick in order to keep it from moving on my slick granite countertop. So this is what I have, and this is what I love here. I use one side for meat, and then I use the other side for my produce and my vegetables. So I recommend that you have one because honestly, you know, it's just good to have a surface that you can cut on, that you can rely on, instead of using paper towels or plates. Yes, I have been there. Yes, I have used those in the past, but this is what I recommend that you have and that you keep always and all the time. So those are my cutting boards. So my last few items, I just want to quickly talk about my coffee maker. I use my coffee maker every single day of my life, just about. I'm the only person that drinks coffee in the house, so I have a very small one because there's no need for me to have anything larger at this point in this time. I have thought about getting one of those fancy ones where you can make like the nice drinks or whatever, but as of right now, I'm just sticking with my 5-cup black Mr. Coffee, my 5-cup Mr. Coffee maker. And I do recommend, if you're a coffee drinker, get you a coffee maker. I mean, you need it. I mean, you got to get up in the morning. You got to get yourself, going. And nothing does that better than a good cup of coffee. And next up is my blender. Now, I have the Ninja Professional. I absolutely love it. This is not the blender that I've always had. I had a smaller, let me see if I actually have it. I gave the other one away, but no, the motor went bad on it, so I ended up throwing it away. But I had just a smaller little Ninja that you had the mobile motor on the top, and that's what I used for many, many years. So when I upgraded to this blender, I mean, I fell in love. It just gets everything really, really smooth for you. And we use it every single day, just about. My husband I make the smoothies for my husband and myself. So we drink those on a weekly basis. So that's definitely something that I'm gravitating to and touching every single day. And that's the reason why it's in my top 10, because I use it all the time. And I mean, it's in heavy rotation around these parts. And so I do definitely recommend that you get a blender as your top 10 if you're trying to live a healthy lifestyle, if you love smoothies, if you love mixed drinks, and also if you are doing anything homemade like chicken nuggets or anything that may require you to blend up meat. You can definitely use a blender to do those things as well. I have done so. You just want to make sure that you clean it very, very well. My very last top 10 item is my toaster oven. Now, I'm not going to open my toaster oven because it has not been cleaned out in a while. Something I need to write down to remember to do. But it is in heavy rotation. My kids use it every single morning for their Eggo waffles before they go to school. And it's something that we touch. That's why it's in our top 10, because we use it every single day. Prior to this toaster oven, I had just a regular, toaster with that you put the sliced breads in that you push down on. And we upgraded to the toaster just because we needed more space. And I love it. I absolutely love it. It's great for warming up any leftover item that may have been fried or anything that needs a nice crisp to it. It gives you several functions of broiling, of baking, and toasting. So it's like all inclusive. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And that is why it is in my top 10, because it gives me all three of those functions. Sometimes I don't even have to touch my ovens. So it is great. And I definitely recommend that you pick yourself up one. Doesn't matter if it's high end or the lowest of the lowest. As long as it works, as long as you're using it, then that is what's important. So those are my top 10 items. Again, in no specific order. I touch the most in my kitchen. And you know what? I just realized that I can't count. I cannot count. I gave you guys 11 and it was supposed to be 10, but I will leave it at the 11 because, hey, I already did it. So it's in there. So just on your own, knock one off if you feel like it will not be essential to you. But literally, those are the things that I touch the most in my kitchen. And yeah, so please forgive me for my inability to count to 10. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you leave your comments down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And follow me over on my Instagram channel. You can find me there at Shay's Country Kitchen. So I hope you guys, again, enjoyed the video. I enjoyed making this video because I really like just getting personal with you guys and why I do the things that I do in this kitchen of mine. So if you like this video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Let me know if you would like to see more videos of this nature. And until next time, guys, I will see you guys soon. Bye-bye.